Welcome to Kick 'em in the Head, a podcast that takes an inside look at the world of mixed martial arts, featuring interviews with some of the top fighters from South Africa and around the world, with a focus on the EFC and UFC promotions. I'm your host, Yao. Join us as we delve deep into the techniques, strategies, and mindsets of these world-class athletes, learning from their experiences and gaining insights into what it takes to succeed in the toughest sport on earth.
Shaheed.
Yeah, my man. Buenos noches.
UFC Noche. Happy Mexican Independence. I think it's Mexican Independence, but yes, an amazing fight night we had last night. UFC Noche in Las Vegas. Wow. What a night. I mean, I'm still in shock based on what the final decision was for the main bout, but we'll get to that later. But first, what are we talking about?
It was so good that, I had to pull out the Mexican mustache. You know what I'm saying? The fights were so good. I felt like, no, man, I had to go Mexican with this one. The Mexican stash is going to be around for a while. Just like apparently that belt is going to be around for a little bit longer.
Getting her own design definitely was a good luck charm, but I think we want to start with the prelims because there was a fight and we talked about it. Tracy Cortez versus Jazzy Zaviscus, and it was an amazing fight.
It was a bit of a war, and I think the biggest thing was what happened after the fight. Tracy Cortez pulled the win for Mexico, and she was, I think, having it in Mexico gave it such a different spice. You know what I'm saying? You throw in them chilies, them the what's it? The jalapenos, and everything just gets crazy, man. And a little bit of tequila, of course. So, but after the fight, just to be a bit serious, Tracy Cortez did dedicate her win to a good friend of hers, her sister, the embodiment of her sister, Gloria Cejudo, who is former champion, double champion, and Triple C, Henry Cejudo. So we just send our condolences to Henry and his family in this hard time. Cancer is always a horrible situation, and anybody that's fighting cancer, we send our love and we cherish you guys, and thank you for watching. And our thoughts and prayers always with you. And Henry Cejudo, our thoughts and prayers are with you. And it was just a lovely gesture, I think, man. It was really beautiful.
Especially after such a hard battle.
Yeah, man. It made it so much more emotional. It really brought it. Like after that hardcore fight, just fighting's an emotional sport. And to dedicate something so personal to somebody that meant so much to you as a person, I think it's just huge.
I think speaking of the Mexican flavor,
man, it's deep.
The night was absolutely filled with Mexican flavor and sentiment, and starting off with that win from Tracy Cortez, and then that was on the prelims. Going into the main card,
yes,
we had a few wins for a few Mexicans on the card. Unfortunately, the first fight did not go the way of Mexico. That one went the way of Kyle Nelson, who defeated Fernando Padilla by unanimous decision, 29-28. And it was a good fight.
Hey, these decisions, man.
Yeah, it was decision. Hey, decision. Make a decision.
Decision.
Judges that made a decision in the end that we are all, well, we're going to get to that.
Hey, we're going to get to that one. Hey, decisions.
But yeah, back to the Mexican flavor of UFC Noche.
Hey, man, that Mexican flavor was hot. You got... what's his name? Daniel Zellhuber. Yo, that
I don't know. It's not really a Mexican name, but I saw him and I saw him speak and fight, and he's definitely Mexican. But yeah, Daniel Zellhuber.
He's definitely Mexican. We don't talk about people's names.
Zellhuber, so it's not
Zellhuber. I love it. To me, it kind of sounds like German. I don't know, man. But he was definitely feeling the Mexican flavor, especially towards the end of the fight there. Apparently, it was a hard battle. Unfortunately, I didn't catch this one, but it was a hard battle. You did watch. Tell us a little bit about it, Mahami.
So he was fighting Christos Giagos, and he won by anaconda choke in the second round. And
Hey.
how if I was scoring it, I think Giagos had definitely won the first round. Zellhuber came out just a little bit slow. He looked a little bit cold. Although he was holding his own, but it was definitely 29-28. Sorry, a 10-9 round for Giagos, the more experienced fighter. Going to the second round, Zellhuber did come out. It was basically an even round up until the third minute when he got the choke, the anaconda choke, and it was perfectly timed. He caught him with a hook, I think it was. Giagos went down and he went straight into the anaconda, flipped him over, and the fight was over. So it was an amazing performance. It was a good performance. Yes, a little bit cold, but for a young fighter, brilliant. The power's back, right?
Beautiful. Yeah. hey, power, man. You know, it's that transition when you got to transition. You got to transition everything off your charges and everything. I'm back in power, man. But that Mexican flavor, man. You know what? I think having home court advantage always gives a fighter an extra bit of zest, man. Especially when you've got people that are so behind you and so passionate. It would be amazing to see a South African UFC because I know our homies would go crazy. Just like the Irish people, the Irish and the English go nuts. And with rugby,
and Durban would relocate to Johannesburg for that event, definitely. And yes, that's me saying it will happen in Johannesburg and nowhere else.
Yeah. Do you honestly think? Johannesburg. Well, I honestly think it'll happen in Pretoria. I think it'll happen in Pretoria. Sun City.
It has to be Sun City. That's the only showcase venue that we have where it comes to boxing, etc. So, I mean,
hey, Sun City.
Back to Mexico. You've got Daniel Zellhuber. Sorry, Daniel Zellhuber on the left.
I'm sorry. I'm just excited here. I'm sorry, guys.
He just needs to bring it home. He needs to make sure he gets that title match.
But we're gonna speak about that. We're gonna speak about that later. Zellhuber and Raul, man. Gee whiz.
So on the right, we have Raul Rosas Jr., the youngest fighter in the UFC. And how did that fight go?
He? How old is Raul?
He just turned 19, I think.
Just turned 19.
So he's about to turn 19, somewhere there.
So he's in the UFC as an 18-year-old. What would I think we all need to think about what we were doing when we were 18 years old. And it definitely wasn't stepping into a pro ring of like the highest caliber. Certainly wasn't for me. Cheers, guys. So commendable, man. He did have a shaky, he did have that loss, which a lot of people were thinking he'd be a bit shaky from. But like you said, man, maturity, and he showed it. He came out, he showed it, and it was amazing. It was an amazing fight. He finished it in the first round.
First round finish. It was about I think in the 54 seconds. Minute 54 seconds in the first round.
That knockout was crazy. He had a zombie moment. Who was it? Who was he fighting against?
Fighting versus Terrence. Was it Terrence Mitchell?
Was it Terrence Mitchell?
Yes.
Terrence Mitchell. I'm actually quite a fan of Terrence Mitchell. See, that's what happens when things happen to the fighters I like. I kind of just block it out of my mind. So unfortunately for Terrence Mitchell, he got caught bad and he zombied, man. He just did that, ooh, and then he went down. It was pretty horrible, but a beautiful finish for Junior over there. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing, and I think it's going to give him the momentum and the confidence that he was looking for, because he came in as what most of us said, a hype train. But and after his last fight that he lost to Jared Gordon, if you look at the experience of Jared Gordon has almost 40 fights in the UFC. He's very, very experienced. and that experience showed. So now they've taken him a step lower, given him Terrence Mitchell, who's I think it's 14-3, well now 14-4, somewhere there, who's more experienced, but not that much more experienced. So I think he's now taking the right steps in his career, taking the right fights, like Graham said when we spoke with the EFC matchmaker, making sure you're taking the right fights in your career at the right time. So I think they're starting to do the correct management and not just seeing him as a hype train and saying, listen, let's just get him to the top as quickly as possible, because that can also affect and negatively affect or impact your career and the projection of your career if you do it wrong. But he looks like he's learned from that last fight, the last loss. So let's go, Raul.
Yeah, and we've seen it with O'Malley. We've seen it with, especially in the bantamweight division, we've seen popularity push people into stratosphere. We've seen it with O'Malley. I keep on saying O'Malley, but we've seen it with a lot of fighters, whether
So
they
clearly, he's
deserve to
our
be
new
there or
favorite
not.
fighter, other than Connor, who had to come up now because we have to talk about Connor.
Hey,
Keep going.
hey, we have to talk about old McGregor's, man. You got to. But with these sorts of fighters, when they're so popular so quickly, I mean, you see Hamza, you see Connor, you see these big names, and they haven't got a lot of fight they got a lot of fight record behind them. But then we ask these big questions like, who have they actually fought? And when you start putting the names together, it's like, okay, but they've got a lot of wins. And unfortunately, we come to the next fight, and then old Kevin, take any fight, the true opposite of what you were talking about, Mister Take any fight at any point in time. It didn't serve him well, this fight, man. It really didn't. We
But
hype
interestingly enough,
training old Jack.
he's exactly what you just described. He's basically that fighter that has fought all of the names. Name them, he has
Yes.
fought them. But even that isn't helping him move forward. But yes, Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. That was a good fight. Well, look, it was a fight. It was a little bit boring. It was a
Hmm.
little bit boring, to be honest. But,
Okay.
well, JDM won. What are your views?
You know, when we have these fights that are pushed to decision, and unfortunately, I hate to say it in MMA, we've been very lucky. We've been very lucky these past couple of months, these past couple of weeks with the EFC, the UFC, Brave, One, the amazing things we've been seeing. But unfortunately, this is a symptom of MMA where you have stylistically not the best fight. It was a short notice fight. Kevin is a consummate stand and banger. Jack, we were still feeling out Jack. Jack likes to come in, he likes to play around a little bit. I fancy his chances on the ground more than with the hands. So stylistically, it's one of those fights where yeah, it'll either go to decision. Kevin's either going to knock Jack out or Jack's going to finish on the ground. It went to decision, and yeah, that's MMA. Sometimes it's just one of those fights, man, and it happens a lot of the time with the short notice fights. Sometimes we get these cracker short notice, um, because these guys are just warriors. They come out here to fight. Some short notice fights stylistically just don't work. That's why they're not booked. And unfortunately, I think this is one of those fights. Just didn't need to be booked. It didn't need to happen. Unfortunately, Kevin is fights everybody, and I'm not. I love Kevin Holland a lot, but I wish he'd get to a point where we can actually, like the fans of Kevin Holland, can boast about him a bit more. You know what I mean?
Have something to boast about.
Yeah. No, well, we got something to boast about. This guy's awesome. Kevin Holland is awesome. But for people that don't understand MMA and people that don't necessarily watch MMA like we do, They don't know how awesome old Kevin is. And it'd be really cool to see him in some sort of title fight, see him um, a big pay per view, and get in the props he really deserves.
Yeah. He takes any fight. And I think it's a testament to the type of warrior that he is. He's
Mm.
one of those fighters that says, if I need to fight, if I'm called, I'll fight. For me, him and Bobby Green are the two perennial fighters that love to fight and will fight if they have to fight.
Mm.
Bobby just won against Tony Ferguson, the legend. None of us gave him a chance. We didn't think he was going to win. Honestly, he won it in the last few seconds of the third round. Fine. But the fact is, there are certain fighters that you tend to think are sent in just to fight for the sake of there being a fight on the card. Kevin Holland, Bobby Green,
Yeah.
and they take these fights, whether it's short notice or not, because these guys are amazing fighters and they love to fight. But is that fair for competition?
And, hey, man, I don't know. We watched that Bobby Green Islam fight, and that was over. And that was that. It wasn't even competitive. It was horrible. It was like, and he was, and you know what? Bobby Green and Kevin Holland come with energy, man. Both of them come with such energy to fight camps, to fight. Well, hey, one day I will know if they come to energy with fight camps, but to press conferences, to fight weeks, they bring such energy, and I read they electrify the fans, and but they are used as like stepping stones. They're
Mm.
big names that it's nice to have on your win record, and it's Dana, man, Dana, stop hating on our boys, man. Just stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. And that's what I think we see here with all Kevin. And oh man, it's a hard one. And then we talk about the judges. Judges in the co-main, judges in the main event. What is going on, man? What is going on? Yo.
It did seem like Kevin Holland could have won that fight as well. It was not as clear cut. I watched the fight. Ugh, it was very difficult to say that JDM won, but then it would have been equally difficult to say that Kevin won. It was just difficult, and unfortunately, it needs to go one way in MMA, and it went the way of JDM, and that's why they say, don't let it go to the judges.
But it doesn't have to go. It doesn't have to go either way. It doesn't actually. It actually can come out as a draw. It can really just be a draw. You know what I mean? Like a disappointing, bitter, stale, bitter in your mouth, like that the ambulance be driving past, stale draw.
Well,
Uh,
that sounds like you're describing Jan Blauwitz versus Ankalaev, Muhammad Ankalaev, Magomed Ankalaev, because that was the definition of the end of that fight. An
right?
interim, so it wasn't interim, a vacant light heavyweight title vacated by Yuri Prohaska, sitting there wide open for anyone to grab, and it ends
No,
in a
it
draw.
wasn't vacated by Yuri. It was vacated by um,
Dover.
Jamal Hill.
Jamal. No, no,
It,
no. This was
Jamal.
before. This was before.
Oh,
Then
shit.
Jamal
Sorry, sorry,
and
sorry, sorry.
Glover
My
fought
bad, my bad,
for
my
that
bad, my bad, my
title
bad.
that was still
No,
vacant
you're completely
because
right.
the previous one had gone to a draw between Ankalaev and Blaovic. So draws
Flip,
are
man, I
not, they're
remember.
disgusting. Like you said, it's a taste that no one likes.
Exactly. And see how I block it out of my mind. I'm like, what? I don't even remember it correctly. Like who actually got draws, man. But this draw, hey, I'm gonna remember it for a while because gee, it was a pretty good flipping fight, man. It was a really good fight. We saw Easy get knocked down this year, and for I don't know if it is the first time Valentina's ever been knocked down before ever, but I think your history being made and seeing Valentina get knocked down. Wow. It just shows the power that old Grasso has, and her toughness, Valentina's toughness is it's legendary, man. It's flippin' legendary.
So,
Wow.
just for full disclosure, I realized that these pictures that I've just put up are actually from Shevchenko Grasso 1 because
Oh,
Shevchenko
really?
here.
Flip.
My bad.
I think
This one doesn't-
yeah, man. Hopefully we could have done a question, like if anybody had noticed, we could have done like a giveaway for some EFC tickets or something. That could be coming up, guys.
Maybe we
Like,
should check it
subscribe,
out.
share.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
But back to
keep
the draw.
watching. Keep watching, keep liking, keep subscribing, and we got hot stuff, guys. Draws.
Instagram, YouTube, as you see behind Shahid. Back to the
Draws,
draw.
guys.
So here is the actual draw from last night, as they were both pronounced the winner and loser of the bout because the judges had scored it to a draw. And there was one judge specifically that had scored it 47-47 that had a 10-8 round in the scoring. And I think that's really where the controversy has been focused because if that round, he had scored that round, well, presumably just a 10-9, which in theory, he could have, it would have then gone to
Right?
Shevchenko and it would have been and new. And Shevchenko herself in her post match also did say, listen, for me, I hear that it's Mexican independence. I didn't finish the fight, whatever, but I know I won this fight, and we'll see. We'll see where to go. Thank you very much. So even she's aware that something was, and even the commentator said it. So what's your view on this, and obviously then going towards a potential rematch?
Yeah. Pressure does not always make diamonds, guys. Let's just come to that point very, very quickly. Sometimes pressure makes crappy decisions when you can't actually make a decision and you're just like, I don't want to make anyone angry because I'm sitting in Mexico and people probably know my name.
Well,
So
they're in
I
Vegas.
think
Yes,
I wait,
they're in
Noche,
Vegas.
Noche. Hey man, then I don't know what's going on. Then I don't know. I don't know.
But keep going.
Yeah, Vegas officials are supposed to be really good. You know what? They watch a lot of fights. I don't know why we're going for draws. Um, I really don't understand it. You know, at the end of the day, I think we felt a lot of pressure from Mexican Independence Day, and it does bring the fact that this was one of those fights. It was a Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski trilogy, Moreno, Figueroa, like rematches. As much as we want to see certain fights happen and happen and happen until the person we want to win wins, is it really good for the division? Now,
Mhm.
this particular rematch, because of the circumstances, there's a lot of argument for the rematch. And then we come to our next big rematch situation, which is Izzy versus Strickland. Oh, and gee whiz, how can I even forget? But now with this rematch, we talk about things like, does it even deserve to happen? We're not even talking about the Aljamain O'Malley rematch. Now, why is that?
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't understand why. Because
Okay, so
Aljamain, okay, yeah,
mhm.
okay, give me a viewpoint.
With regards to the rematches, this specific rematch you would think would be deserving. It's his first loss that he's defended forever. He was beaten convincingly, yes, but when you look at the fact that the organization for the Izzy match is already talking exactly what you're saying, a rematch. For this one, not. The Shevchenko one is tricky because they're on the fence. it's very interesting how they view rematches and who is deserving of rematches. But I think with this one, um, because of how stagnant the division has been, there's also a business aspect of how do we move this division on and make sure it becomes as fluid as possible? How do we get it going? Because Aljamain has lost to a few guys, and now that he's lost again, it's very easy in this specific instance to say, well, let's move the division on because we've got an opportunity to do so. Let's get Mirab into this because finally we have an opportunity to do something there. And then Aljo can say, well, okay, fine. I accept that I'm gone now because now Mirab might be champion or not, whatever. But from the business perspective, I understand why this rematch is not viable. If Aljo wins, then what? We go back to the old situation. And where's the value there?
No, but that's the whole thing, is that it's not a standard that we set for everyone. It is this popularity thing, like between Aljo and Izzy. Aljo Aljo is a dominant champion. Aljo is a good champion. Um, Izzy is a popular champion. Whether he's a good or bad champion depends on your criteria of champion. Do they both deserve the instant rematch? Yes. Yes, they do both deserve an instant rematch. Is it good for the division? No. No. No, 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 no. We want to see other fights. As much as I love Max Holloway, nobody wants to see, unfortunately, nobody wants to see number 4 Alex Max. We don't want to see it. Even now with these other rematches coming up, Islam versus Charlie, that's gonna be a good. It's a good fight. It's a very good fight. It's got
Two
very
is
good
always
billing.
good. It's not that one's not really a rematch because Oliveira has had to go through I think 2 other fights, so it's not a rematch.
Exactly. So the way we build these fights, these number twos, these and yeah, so that brings the forth the question. Instant rematches, are they what we need in MMA? Because we do have instant rematches in boxing where we've got fight clauses, we got the contracts, we can get that instant rematch because the
And some MMA
champion
clauses,
does.
some MMA contracts do have it as well.
Yeah, but we don't see that a lot in the UFC. It is primarily to the discretion of old Mr. White, and not the one that's selling the meth, man. You know what I'm saying? So at this point in time, it's at the discretion of the big guy. And if he doesn't feel the vibe, then it doesn't happen. But I don't think that's fair. What do you think, man?
I think it's a business at the end of the day. Best fighters in the world, but the best fighters in the world need to be facing each other rather than being stuck in a roster. So for me, it would be a business decision.
Okay.
That, and I'd
So,
say,
but
yeah,
and I
okay.
just wanted to jump in because I don't want the easy rematch,
I
and I know it's
say,
gonna happen.
I say it has to happen simply because as much as Izzy's record is what it is, for the organization to have the next McGregor, and this is why I'm saying it's always more than just like you're saying as well, just the is it good for the division and all that, but also from the business decision of who Izzy is, it makes sense to do the rematch.
Mm.
And then, depending on how that goes, take it from there. Because then, if Izzy wins that, wins the next one, by then he's 37, 38. He's retiring anyways, or he's trying to go up and get light heavyweight again or something. But it, it's just enough time for them to make sure that middleweight division is stable enough. It is very stable. You've got Drickus in there, but I think for me, rematch still makes sense in terms of where Izzy is in his career as a 34-year-old fighter. Yeah, I
No.
knew you were gonna disagree.
You know what? Okay, I Israel, like you've said, has that star power. I mean, look at how good he looks on the cover of that that UFC 5 there, man. He looks good. He does have that star attractiveness now, and he's got the skills to back it up. Do you know what?
Do
There's
you
so
not
many
then think he was
tasty
cursed?
fights.
Do you not then think he was cursed?
Ooh. Yeah, we come back. Yeah, we doing recaps from the last episode because we know Valentina, something spicy happened to Valentina. We know it.
Exactly. Because the curse is it's clearly real. It has, and she didn't lose. Mind you, she did not lose. However, she did not get her title back. And we tweeted, so please do follow, like, subscribe, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We tweeted that that she lost and it's part of the curse. And someone retweeted to say, no, she didn't lose. It was a draw. But nonetheless, she did not get her title. The curse is real.
But that's part of the curse because Jon Jones has never lost, and Jon Jones got in that whole what was it, cocaine
It was the
ordeal
doping.
or was it the pictograms? And then your boy was hiding underneath the flipping cage, and we all remember that story. We all remember that story. So being on the cover makes bad things happen. And the only one that hasn't felt the curse yet, or maybe he has in his personal life, he's just not telling us, is Alex Volkanovski. Oi, 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 oi,
The
oh.
great.
This could be the time, bro.
And like you said, we spoke about this in the last episode. The time for who? Because his next fight is not scheduled. Who do we think can come in and be the harbinger of the curse?
Max Holloway. See, how boring does that sound?
But the thing is,
But
how else would a curse work? You fight the person for the fourth time, and of the fourth installment of your fights is when you lose.
Yeah.
That to me sounds
Yes.
cursed.
And do you know what? Like, it would be like a funny way to lose. Like, he'd break his ankle and then fall onto Max's fist, and then have the worst like meme of himself like ducking out and being like, "Oh, cursed, bro." That's like a cursed
So,
knockout right there. So,
quite tragically, all of that sounded like a very bad sex joke. But okay, yes, I
get you. Yo, hey, my man. Hey,
get you.
that's what
Yes,
happens
yes,
when
yes.
you
The
come
curse
and
could
go to
happen in any way, shape.
the cover.
Yeah.
This could be what his bad thing. I mean, being mentioned here and us just going at him for being like short the champion and on UFC 5, which are all awesome things for him. Like even being short, which is like gives him like such a good grounding. That's why he's so good with his punches. Like he's got such a good grounding. Alex Volkanovski, if you ever listen to this or ever watch this at all, ever, you are awesome. Your fighting style is disgustingly good. Hopefully UFC 5 doesn't hook you up, bro.
And honestly, and like I said, if he can beat the curse, for me,
Yeah.
there's no question he is the GOAT. No question. As much as I love DJ, who
No, but
he becomes the GOAT to beat the curse.
Yeah, to beat the curse. Do you know what? We get Drake to bet on him, right? So we call up our good friend Drake. Drake, again, if you're listening to this ever, my man, put your boy on a cover of a song. You need some ladies. Me or Yao, I don't know, either one of us. So we get Drake, right? We get Drake to bet on Alex. And now being on the cover and having the Drake bet, he needs to beat the Drake bet and the cover curse, and then he will officially be the ultimate curse breaking GOAT. Because you have to have more than one GOAT. Come on.
And then
right?
Drake finally have broken his duck. That thing that has been around is gone. And he can also rejoice. And Alex can be like his genie. You know, when you rub the lamp and the genie pops out and makes your one wish come true. Alex is the one wish that came true and his curse is broken. Wow. That's genius.
He needs to rub Alex's head. He must rub Alex's head. It's the only way it's gonna happen. Do you think Alex would let Drake rub his head for good luck? Come on. That's the only way it's gonna happen.
I think it's possible, honestly. MMA is a crazy sport, man. Like anything can happen.
It's crazy.
No one knew who Sergio Ramos was when he rocked up at a UFC event. I mean, anything is possible.
And Sergio is earning more than all those homies combined, so it's pretty.
I mean, but they didn't know who he was.
Hey.
Cool. Oh.
Hey, it's one of those things, man. Curses and
with regard to Volkanovski, though, what move do you think he's going to use to break the curse?
Oh, gee whiz. It's do you know what's insane with old Volkanovski is that he could kick somebody in the head and he can ground and pound. So that's really I think if he goes up and gets the lightweight title from Islam, that would be the most stylish way to break the curse. Can you imagine that?
With a head kick.
Yeah, with a flipping head kick. But is it that time?
It was that time. It was. No, it was, but it's fine. It can be that time again.
Is it that time? Yeah, but time. Since I did miss it, what is the best way to finish the fight?
Yeah, I'm definitely sure. It's to kick him in the head.
Kick him in the head. I missed it this time, also, guys. I'm so sorry.
Everyone, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, add headkickpod on all your favorite platforms, anywhere you get your podcasts, and all your social media platforms. Bye-bye.
We out here. Woo woo.
Kick him in the head!